I came here to urge y'all to be on the right side of history.
All right.
Because you can sit there and act like this isn't a relevant issue, but you people are the reason that the entire world came to Ferguson, Missouri.
It's Ferguson 10. 10 years since the state sanctioned killing of Mike Brown Jr. Also 10 years since the Ferguson uprising that changed the world. I'm here with Ferguson frontliner. I am Dr. Travis Harris, also known as Hood Scholar. I'm here with Ferguson frontliner, Tori Russell.
What's up, boy?
How you feeling? How you feeling?
I'm all right. You know, it's that 10 year. It's August.
10 year.
Yeah, it's that little feeling that everybody get.
Yeah. Yeah. So I wanted to start actually before August the 9th, 2014. Right? And if we can, let's just remind the world what was going on. Because remember, what big historical event we had?
Before Ferguson?
Yeah, the
Trayvon?
election. Well, we did have Trayvon.
We had Trayvon.
But who got elected?
Obama. Again.
Right? Again. Right? And when Obama got elected, what were people saying?
We was in a post-racial world.
Post-racial, colorblind society, right?
That's what Torrey said. That's what he said. He wrote a book about it, too.
That's wild, right? So you remember we were actually arguing with people that racism still exists.
Yeah.
They kept saying, well, you got a black president. You got a black president.
Yeah.
Right? What are your thoughts about that just before we get into August the 9th?
I think that as a kid from the West Side, I probably would have believed it. I never seen a black man. I've never seen a black man hold any position in any part of society that would make my father cry because he got a better job. I think about it like that. I think that Ferguson changed that though. It destroyed. And I think even Trayvon.
Yeah.
You know, I always think about how he cried for Sandy Hook, but no tears for Trayvon Martin. It kind of changed it for me. It was like Who Love Us.
Who Love Us. So let's go to that day, August the 9th. Before Mike Brown, right? A lot of people outside of Ferguson, outside of St. Louis, don't know that police killings happen on a regular, right?
Yeah.
Talk to us about that.
I think early on in the movement, you know, we was doing research every 28 hours.
Every 28 hours.
People like Rosa Clemente and other scholars and academics was a part of those studies. Malcolm X Grassroots.
Yeah.
Got to meet them. It was beautiful.
Yeah.
Seeing other organizers. I think for them, it was shocking to come to St. Louis. And I think we almost average in the metro area because you got St. Louis City.
Yep.
Then
Okay.
you got the county, which is what Ferguson sits in.
Gotcha.
It's a lot of mini Ferguson. So,
Yeah.
you know, in the metro area, it's well over 500,000. And that's not if you include our brothers and sisters on the other side of the water in East St. Louis. So
Yeah.
we probably had 750,000 black people, and the police kill us every week here in this region. It's not going. It's gonna be a loved one real soon. By the end of the year, it's gonna be definitely your cousin.
Yeah.
It was my uncle at one point. It was there's a lot of people in my family. So I think that it was shocking to the movement that some of those statistics made people in Ferguson rise up and actually do the protest because they was directly affected.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And let's jump into that, right? So we can really say that stuff was already bubbling beneath the surface before Darren Wilson killed Mike Brown. Right?
Yeah. Somebody got killed by the police July 4th. A person, brother I went to school with, Cortez Shepard. His son got killed. Cortez Shepard Jr. got killed in a car over some marijuana, and it was decriminalized.
Wow.
So why is the police even messing with him?
Why is he?
Stefan Gilkey. I can think of so many names, so many local cases
Yeah.
Kimberly Randall King, a sister who died a month after
Yeah.
Michael Brown. Actually, 3 people died, got killed. Kajimi Powell,
Yep.
Kim King. So yeah, every week.
And Von Derek Myers.
Von Derek Myers.
Yeah.
It's a lot of names every week.
Every week. So we have police killings happening on a regular around the country, but also, especially in St. Louis, we got this racist system, right? Because so for you all who don't know, I've been researching and studying St. Louis ever since 2014, and what y'all call it? Whenever the police officers are pulling you over so they can make money for the county, which
debtor's prison.
Debtor's prison, right? Because so break this down for us. Break down this whole municipalities thing, because people outside of Missouri, St. Louis don't understand that. What is this municipalities? Because Ferguson is just one municipality, right?
Yeah.
And then you can go into Florissant and then Florissant, right? Hazelwood. And so if you get a ticket in Ferguson,
which might be driving down West Florissant, Ferguson about 6 to 8 blocks long. So you only get to drive through it maybe 2 minutes. You could get a ticket probably up to $2,000.
Oh.
Then you could cross over West Florissant to past Lucas and Hunt. I'm not passing. If you come before Lucas and Hunt, my bad. That's Jennings. You could get another ticket for the same infractions, $2,000. You could cross over Chambers and go into this black district, all black, 80-90% black. Police still operate like slave catchers. You can get another ticket. And I'm saying all this, you could do this in a 12-block radius driving down West Florissant. And if you make a left or a right, you could probably be up to about $20,000 in a 5-minute drive. And that's what they historically do in St. Louis County. They tax you so much that you're in debt to the local police departments, that you can't get out of debt, and you won't have a driver's license. You can't have a driver's license, you can't get to work. Now you can't get to work, now your family poor, now you out here doing statistic things. And it's 90 of them. There's 90 little Ferguson, some bigger than the others. Some share police departments, some don't have police departments. So they got these co-ops created by St. Louis County Prosecutor Wesley Bell, now the congressman, created this police co-op, was instrumental in bringing it forth because they said they needed protection, but they was writing the same tickets before Ferguson. Now they got more coverage.
So we can understand then why Ferguson will blow up.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, what I constantly heard was 4.5 hours.
Yeah.
4.5 hours. 4.5 hours. Let's go to that day, August 9th, 2014. Of course, I guess it started like a regular day for you, right? Yeah. Well, take us to your, like, let's go. What was Tory Russell doing August 9th, 2014, 10 o'clock a.m.?
I was helping one of our alumni from Sumner High School.
Sumner High School.
Oldest black high school west in Mississippi. The best high school ever. Go Bulldogs. 4 state championships. You know, we keep going.
Keep going.
I was helping one alumni who was teaching at another high school. I was trying to become a high school football coach, baseball coach, and just trying to help my community. I felt like a lot of ex-athletes, people who I looked up to in the school, weren't in the schools anymore. And I wanted to be one of the people that can bring at least our, public high school league alumni in the 30s, 40s, 20s, maybe even 50s. And let the older people who sending the money in let us go do the work to go save our babies. And that's what I was doing. I was going to football practice. Well, coaching. Yeah.
Okay, you was coaching.
Yeah. I was just helping out.
You hear, did you see it on social
Twitter.
media?
Yeah, on Twitter. Or X now.
Or X, right. So it was on Twitter. Did you know who it was, or it was just another police killing like the previous ones?
I mean, it was just another person killed by the police.
Which is normal.
That's St. Louis.
Yeah.
You know, you're gonna die here.
Right.
You know, that's what they say. So
Right.
I think there's a lot of beautiful things that happen here. I don't want it to be picked up like that one. It's just you could be your father and mother could be college graduates, Rhodes scholars, drug dealers, or a lunch lady and a janitor. And the odds of the police killing you is the same if you black. I think that that makes a community of people around Ferguson and Jennings and Normandy, Wellston, Pagesdale, Pine Line want to rise up because all their life they've been beat down by the police.
Right. So when did you eventually go out to Canfield?
It took me a little minute.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna hold you.
Yeah.
I seen the picture. Mike Ferguson PD just killed my unarmed son. Heard Leslie say that you know how hard it is to get a young black boy in St. Louis to graduate. Then they graduate, and this what y'all do to him. He graduated 8 days before that on August 1st.
Wow.
Took me a while, probably processing. Probably still shook from Trayvon.
Yeah.
Didn't know, wasn't no trained organizer, never been in nothing. So probably mustering up the courage to really react and respond. I'm just glad I did.
Yeah. So a couple of hours later, you go out there. Is his body still on the ground when you get there?
Body still on the ground.
Wow. How? I know
It's probably 2 hours later. Shaheed there.
How was it seeing that body on the ground and the blood just?
I'm gonna quote what this old black woman said: "If y'all don't get that boy up, y'all gonna pay for that." This ain't no what she say? She said something, and then she said, "Man, this ain't nothing but a modern day lynching." And I think when she said it, it hit because you just see a body with a blood-soaked sheet over it. And they had 2 more hours to go by the time I got there.
Wow.
So it's a thing for me. Yeah. I had to go to the PD because that mama said she wanted some answers, so we went.
And so I'm imagining as Mike Brown's body just laid there for hours. So we think about it, it's seconds that turns to minutes, minutes turns to hours, and time is just building and building. I'm sure the people are starting to feel a certain way too, right?
Amen.
And so it's building up. It's building after all the other stuff that we talked about, from the tickets, from other people who had somebody who got killed by the police. And so all of y'all then go to Ferguson PD. Take us there. What happens next?
I remember sitting outside. Brother Al Sharif from the Nation of Islam came and got me. We drove up and we went to the PD. We just trying to figure out what to do. And we knew it was wrong.
Yeah.
And when we went across the street from the PD, it was maybe one car there. A Latino woman, Elizabeth Vega. Shout out to Elizabeth Vega for always getting active.
Yeah.
Not gonna hold you. She not gonna let nothing go down. And couple other families. Their families was killed by the police too. They was already there. They was already on it. And I guess they was just waiting for more support. And that 5 turned into 10, 20. I think by 9 o'clock it's probably a good 60 people outside.
Wow.
And we was saying we was gonna go in at 10 o'clock, and we
Okay.
did. Yeah.
And you say y'all did?
Yeah, we went in.
Oh.
And we tried to talk to the police chief. He left. We talked to the sergeant, and they just gave us a runaround. That's a picture. I actually didn't even know this till like years later that the newspaper took a picture. Local photographer took a picture of it, and damn, I ain't remember it. I just remember me, Al Sharif, brother Ali, who was incarcerated. Two of the families. I think the family of the young man who was shot and killed. Officer right down the street from Ferguson and Florissant. A famous case here that kind of built the protest out here. It was like one that hit the community. The officer literally at the Jack in the Box was, I can't remember if he jumped all the way on top of the hood of the car or ran up to the hood of the car and shot through it and killed them in that. And his mother was there. His family was there the night of Mike Brown. I knew off the rip. And it was more families. It wasn't just, it was multiple families. My family, I just didn't say nothing. Probably everybody family out there. And we went in there and got no answers. And we was like, we're going to come back every day. And we did for over a year. Wow. I think it was astounding. You know, they say it's the longest nonviolent direct action, surpassing the Montgomery bus boycott.
Yeah.
You know, we went over 400 days.
Wow.
Trying to get justice for not only Mike Brown, but all the Mike Browns.
All the Mike Browns.
Yeah, even
all
the
the
ones
families.
in your family. Yeah.
Right, because that's my cousin, that's my uncle, that's my little sister, that's my brother. And actually, I want to go back to August 9th because another famous phrase came out of that day, right? Hands up, don't shoot. Give us that story because the narratives out there are wild, right? It's I'm hearing stories that, oh, it's just saying black people just be quiet, just calm down, just all this crazy stuff, right? Tell us the true story behind Hands Up, Don't Shoot.
It was really out of people's humanity. People got there really saying, why would you shoot that boy with his hands up?
Why would you shoot that boy with his hands up?
And I couldn't make sense of that. I couldn't shake it. I think Brother Shaheed, elder activist here, made it into a chant.
Yeah.
So everybody would know that they shot that boy with his hands up. It was really like saying what they did out loud over and over so we don't forget, because you gonna believe a lie later. So before they start making them lies saying he was selling weed or he was a bad kid and writing bad articles, he was no angel in the New York Times and stuff like that, I think the organic culture of the community was like, no matter what you think he was, he died with his hands up.
Right.
He wasn't on. Whatever type of time you think he was on, he wasn't on it at that time. He wanted to go home to his family. He wanted to grieve or feel some type of whatever he was doing, man. He was walking down the street like a normal kid.
Like a normal kid.
Which, you know, can't do that black and American, especially not in St. Louis.
Not in St. Louis. So now let's set the scene, because I visited. I came to St. Louis. I came to Ferguson, and during Ferguson October, a lot of people did. And then also there were a lot of people who came from outside. But for those of us who were following this, right, we saw the images. Some of us found some of the live streams. So, and you were there. So I want you to help us understand what we were seeing. So let me tell you what we saw. We saw tanks. We saw tear gas. We saw the police shooting something, right? We looking at it like, this looks like a war zone, right? Talk to us about that, being there, experiencing that, and fighting for justice for Mike Brown.
It was a war zone. And after a while, the people understood that and resisted. I think it's different when you just getting whooped. A lot of times I be seeing protests where it's one-sided.
Yeah.
I feel like the police waged the war on us way before August 9th, 2014. I think both sides fought.
Yeah.
And really we won to the point where they had to. Ferguson couldn't contain us. They had to call Florissant and Hazelwood. They couldn't contain us. They had to call the city and everybody.
Yeah.
They couldn't contain us. They calling people out from Arnold and all over the place.
Yeah.
They couldn't contain us. They had to call the National Guard.
Go to the National Guard.
And it was even. And sometimes we won and sometimes they lost.
Yeah.
And vice versa on some of those nights. And I
Yeah.
feel like that's what it was.
Yeah.
I think about that when you see people resisting in like Kenya right now or the Congo or Haiti. It's black people resisting. And even though it's going to be some black people in the police department or in the National Guard, we still fighting for our liberation even through you if you stand in our way.
Yeah. Now, do you have any firsthand accounts or stories you can share with us from being out there that you remember, either from your own personal story or others who you talk with for being out there?
I think let's bring back a good one, man. Cause I just always think about when the protests got good.
Yeah.
Like when we got to the point where our tactics and strategies beat the police. They wasn't just running us into a corner to arrest us.
Yeah.
Like we was cattle and herd us and cattle. It wasn't none of that. It was they had to come get some of that.
Yeah.
And they couldn't survive it. They couldn't run in all their RoboCop suits. They couldn't stick to policies and procedures. They didn't know what to do with a nonviolent direct action. They never seen civil disobedience. They never seen highways and stuff shut down. They didn't know the legalese. They didn't know what to do. They was frustrated to the point where they was trying to harm people, swinging on people. And we was adamant, this ain't your mama and daddy civil rights movement. This ain't gonna be one of those.
Yeah.
So I think what happened over time was the tactics just kept upping each other. And we got more strategic and started using the media. And Ferguson October was the place where we wanted to share them new tactics and strategies and chants with the world.
Yeah.
And I think, when you came down, that kind of moved it what we wanted. We wanted a global movement of mostly younger black people who was ready to resist and trained up and ready to go and build community. So not just be adversarial or just be like antagonists. Be like, nah, I don't like that. I like this. Come build this. If they mess with us, we gonna go resist and put up a fight. But we trying to build something different. And I feel like Ferguson October was like the birth of a movement.
Yeah. Yeah. I want to go there next, but before, another narrative we dealt with from the outside was that basically y'all were just lazy, non-working, violent looters. I'm sure you heard that narrative. This is your set the record straight. Respond to that craziness.
Nothing stolen in a stolen country. So we can however you feel about it, feel some type of way. Seem like ever since black people stopped working for free, we've been called lazy. I know a trick, I know a scammer, I know a finesser when I hear one.
Yeah.
I'm not going to work for crumbs. I'm not finna go do that for y'all.
Yeah.
We had jobs. It wasn't an economy yet. Like a post-Ferguson economy looks like a whole bunch of black entrepreneurs. So I feel like we had time because we was at y'all temp service because y'all built the economy based on fallacies and lies and stolen gems and resources. And people started to wake up and they didn't want to participate in that. They didn't want to be the economic engine to white supremacy. So I feel like that's how we kind of got to it.
Yeah.
I think the depth of that comes to the point of working class people working together, no different from how we worked on the factory line. And did it in a historical way. Where, of course, people gonna be mad and tear stuff up for sure. but I never seen anybody blame anybody in the American Revolution for doing what they did.
Ooh.
You know, Pat Henry, the rest of them, Thomas Jefferson, all them freedom fighters. So is Nat Turner. It just looked different on this side. So so is Harriet Tubman. So I felt like in a lot of these times, when you live in a country that doesn't protect you, and the local municipalities and the cities don't, the prosecutor not gonna save you, and United Nations ain't gonna hear you until it's September, October. And that's if you get a good spot at the assembly. You have no place, no court, no legal system that's coming to save you, so Black people had to save themselves. And we're not gonna listen to whatever narrative our opposition gonna put on us.
Right.
We freedom fighters.
Right. Because Malcolm X said that you all always call us violent.
Always.
But you all were the ones who introduced violence in the first place. Right? They colonized, when we think about Europeans, they colonized half the world.
Yeah.
And they getting mad over some Skittles? Right? Right, over some tea or some sweet tea or some clothes? Like, this is what we doing. Y'all stole continents and countries. Right?
And a lot of times it don't even be that. They don't even care if you stealing or not.
Right.
They don't care what the narrative is. They gonna make a narrative. Mike Brown was in there, strong arm robbery until you knew the story.
The real story.
That his stuff was in there.
Yeah.
That their son was in there trading drugs and for tobacco and all kinds of things. That they family allowed to do that, continue that after and during the investigation, and was able to sell that to another family to exploit our community. And they doing the same thing, and it never stops.
It never stops.
So it becomes an issue. It becomes a deep issue for Black people. When we look around the world, we look to these governments, we look to these courts. Like John Henry Clark said, we have no friends. And if so, I ain't seen them. I haven't seen you.
Yeah.
I haven't seen them. And they don't come from the top. It don't come from the Obama class either. It look like them poor working class, what you would call thugs.
Right.
Unemployed, whatever you want to call looters, rioters.
Right.
Protesters that don't know what they doing. We tried our best and we changed the world.
Yep. Y'all did. So let's go there. Let's go global. When you respond, earlier your response about Ferguson October was that the goal that you all came up with was to create a global movement, right? And I actually was one of y'all, you can say disciples, because I went back and I started a local grassroots movement in my city. And that's what happened to a lot of local grassroots movements, right? So let's go there, right? And as we was talking before, you used this phrase about Ferguson being bigger than just this area, right? What was that phrase?
Ferguson is everywhere.
Ferguson is everywhere. Let's break that down. What does that mean? What does that mean to you?
I think when we say Ferguson is everywhere, we're saying we see all our people all around the world going through the same problems. It might right now it might look like police brutality. You might lead a protest and it's gonna look like wealth inequality. You're gonna go to a house that's not quality, not decent, or you're gonna go to a job that you can't afford. I feel like that's where we was trying to get to. We wanted to connect that to Tamir Rice. We wanted to connect that to Americana Massacre in South Africa. We was connecting that to the genocide in the Congo. We was cognizant and really being Pan-African, connected in that way, because there's not no local system, y'all. I'm sorry to tell you, I know some people online that's gonna tell you this just hyper local. This beast do this all over the world to all our people. And if we ain't fighting back together, it looked bad. And I can tell you, I went around the world and I saw it. So for me, it was not only telling people to go home and go start some grassroots stuff and don't allow nobody to divert you, but pulling up and showing people how to get it done too.
And right now at this moment at Ferguson 10 years later, this should be explicitly clear, right? Because let's think about what we've had since Mike Brown. So we've had Tamir Rice in 2015,
No, that's
Alton
14.
Sterling.
That's 14.
That's 14. Oh, that was 14.
That's
Wow.
November, yeah.
Dang. I ain't gonna lie. This is kind of traumatic for me.
Because
So
then you got Freddie Gray.
you got Freddie Gray.
I think about all those. Freddie Gray, that's 2015.
That's 15. Alton Sterling. Philando Castile.
His family from St. Louis.
Wow.
His father lived down the street, went to the same high school as me.
Sandra Bland.
Texas.
And then of course we get to the next big one with George Floyd.
And Breonna Taylor. Atia Jefferson. I mean, I could think of some names. Tanisha Anderson, Stephon Gilkey, them local names. Anthony Lamar Smith.
Yeah.
I think those names can go on and on.
And they can go on and on. And when we was in Minnesota, Minneapolis with George Floyd, what was the refrain? It's bigger than George Floyd.
It's bigger than George Floyd.
Because what we see with this same statement of Ferguson's everywhere, this is all connected. Right? So now, Ferguson 10, reflecting over everything we just discussed, what are your thoughts? It's 10 years later. What are some of the L's you took, or some, but are really lessons, right? What are some of the things that you say, oh, actually this works? Yeah, let's reflect. What do you see? What can we take over these past 10 years? What have you learned?
I think I learned that everybody ain't who they say they is. Let them show you. Multiple times over time.
Yeah.
Can you be that person every day? I think that I learned that consistency beats a lot of things. A lot of people who was protesting back then, they don't do any movement work. And when I say back then, some of them started in Trayvon, some of them Ferguson, Tamir Rice, some of them George Floyd and Breonna Taylor, they don't even do it. And I don't even think that they do anything that's connected to the development of they people in the movement simultaneously. Wow. And they resurrection was out of the movement. Their birth was out of the movement. So for me, I'm gonna always think about what raised me. And I think 3 is Ferguson was different for a reason. It had to be different. I think this was our ancestors giving us an alley-oop, putting it somewhere not New York or LA or DC.
Yeah.
I think it needed to be somewhere that the civil rights movement missed. It wasn't really big here in the Midwest. And if so, it's not in our history books. And I never got taught at school or Saturday school about it. Wasn't no freedom school teaching me about my local freedom fighters or the movements that happened way before they called it a civil rights movement. So I think 4, and I think last is always look at your elders as people who leaving you some breadcrumbs and some work to do. And make sure that I leave it for others. But enhance it. I'm not starting in the same place I started in 2014. I'm not helping people from the same spot. We not developing minds, bodies, and spirits for that. We are 10 years better. And I think we learn all our lessons. And those who are consistent, those who still working, we still getting to it.
Yeah. Actually, I wanna close this conversation talking about freedom. Because I know we both woke up with freedom on our mind.
Every day.
What do we want? We want to be free, right? How much of an emphasis was freedom a drive, a motivation for those during Ferguson?
I would like to say everybody, even if they didn't have the words to articulate it. Even if they didn't build their own definition They could be put in a book like Webster. They had some kind of inkling that this ain't right, this ain't freedom.
Right.
You know, what happened to Mike Brown Jr. and so many others, that don't happen to free people. I think people had to come to that realization.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, multiple times. So I feel like that's where we got to freedom, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
In them streets, you get a working definition.
Yeah.
May not have no words and no books.
Right.
Sometimes the rules ain't written down for a reason, though.
Right. It's I'm tired of dealing with what I've been dealing with. And I want something different.
Yeah.
Right. Because it's because I drove down in Ferguson and one of the stop signs is literally behind the tree. Right. And I'm a very cautious driver. So if one of the speed limit changes from 35 to 25, right? And that 25 mile per hour speed limit is behind the tree. So I very well could have been going 40 and a 25 without even knowing it, right? That's not the way life is supposed to be, especially if that means I can get what'd you say, $2,000?
Yeah, because you never know what else on your car. Plates bad. And they say this all the time, you can bring it in, but if you get somebody who really don't like you, they can write you a no insurance ticket. They can write you so many tickets, and then you got to go to court, miss work or miss time,
right?
Or use gas money or find a ride to go fight that. You got to fight for that over all these tickets, all these things, and now it seemed like Ferguson sometime with the police department didn't happen because they still now they coming back to pulling you over all the time. And, you know, when you go down the street or the highway, you're going to see somebody pulled over every day, all day. And I think that the culture is coming back. And I feel like that's what happens when a movement is not made whole.
Yeah.
When we don't really build up ourselves and the next generation. And we don't really have a historical context to it.
So would you say that what do we need? What do you think about organizations? Do you think organization can play a role in this freedom movement?
I mean, I'm a disciple of Kwame Ture, so of course it's organized.
And you all started an organization, right?
We started one. I was part of a couple. I think that
which one you all started with? I believe it was Mama Julia and
Nasut, rest in peace.
Yeah.
Dawood, it's
what was the name of that organization again?
The International Black Freedom Alliance.
International Black Freedom Alliance, IBFA. Yeah. Tell us quickly, what does the IBFA believe?
We believe that all Black people around the world, smart enough, brilliant enough, talented enough, resourceful enough, resilient enough to free ourselves.
Yeah.
And we organize towards that every day. It looks different from probably traditional things, but we're a Pan-African organization.
Yeah.
We believe in all Black people. We do books and breakfast and Black Panther style. We do political education. We do trainings.
Yeah.
We do a lot for our people. And it's an organization that, and I ain't saying everybody got to join the IBFA, but everybody can join it, the International Black Freedom Alliance. What I am saying is this, though. You should be a part of an organized body of Black people that is pushing for the liberation of their people in their own special way. It could be economics. It could be electorally. It could be going back to Africa. It could be a lot of ways. Just find somebody, connect, unite, and build. Because I think that's how we do it, and we do it in an organized manner.
Ferguson frontliner, Black revolutionary freedom fighter, brother, son, so many things in St. Louis community, but also in our Black freedom fighter community. Thank you for your time. Do you have any closing words or remarks?
Look, man, it's a 10-year anniversary. And our work ain't complete. All of us ain't gone. All of us are not done. And the movement is a lot more ready than you could ever imagine. So if you have anything to contribute, find us. Tap in with Ferguson 10. Tap in with the IBFA. Tap in with a black organization. We right there. We love y'all. Peace.
I came here to urge y'all to be on the right side of history.
All right.
Because you can sit there and act like this isn't a relevant issue.
That's right.
You people are the reason that the entire
That's right.
world came to
That's
Ferguson,
right.
Missouri.